You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, or Rosenbaum, whatever you want to say. I don't care. It's perfect. I hope you guys are having a lovely week. Thanks for joining us. We're here. Ryan's here in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say studio. It's in my house, but I don't want to say an extra room. We're here in my extra room. It's my studio.
It is your studio.
It's a studio.
It was also your studio apartment, and then you expanded and built a house around it. That's the legend.
Exactly what I did.
That's the
folks.
legend.
Hey, thanks for tuning in and making this podcast your choice. I know you have a lot of choices, so I appreciate it. We've done this a long time. We know what we're doing, and we get some really good interviews. So if you're here for Dean Cain, stay tuned. If you enjoy the podcast and you never heard of us before, if you like it, just subscribe. It'd be great if you go, wow, that was pretty good, and subscribe and become a subscriber. Watch the show, listen to the show, support the show. If you want to join Patreon, if you really want to support the podcast, join Patreon, Patreon, patreon.com/inside of you, and join. There's a lot of tiers. I send packages to people with a whole bunch of good, cool things, and there's all sorts of stuff. So check out the tiers. More importantly, it's a great community that helps the podcast. So patreon.com/inside of you. Yeah, whatever, man.
Whatever, dude.
Also, if you want to go to my Instagram at the Michael Rosenbaum, my link tree, there's all the cons I'm going to be at. Cameo, if you want a fun cameo, I'm doing a couple of cameos today, and some other things like my Rosie's Puppy Fresh additive for your dog's breath. You just put a capful in your dog's water, and it's odorless and taterless. Odorless and taterless, folks. Tasteless. Good gosh, it's one of those days, man. Also, the Inside of You online store, tons of fun merch. There's the pilot episode of Smallville, the scripts. It's a cool yellow autograph by me, Lexmus scripts, ship keys, Funkos, and it's real signatures because it's coming from my website, which I handle. So there's that. Yeah, it's been a crazy week, man.
Yeah.
Last week was crazy. This is the beginning of this week.
Yeah, whatever this week is.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to start traveling. I'm doing a lot of cons coming up, like the Cruiseville and the Ontario, California is coming up, and I'm all over the place. So go to the Instagram and the link tree and check it out. But yeah, it's been pretty busy. Got to take care of the mental health, though, man. I didn't go to therapy for the last 2 weeks, and I'm kind of feeling it. I got a lot on my mind. I'm unsure about certain things. I'm just trying to work things out in my head. I had a little anxiety last night when I was going to bed. I started thinking about shit, but then, this morning we recorded David Tennant, who is going to be coming on the podcast, and he was great. Love David Tennant, but, Dean Cain is here, and, he was really fun to talk to. He just has a really good energy to him. We talk about Lois and Clark and so many other things that he's doing. And he's living in Nevada now. And we have a really good conversation. So listen in. Dean, thanks for being here. And thanks for helping me find that Dr. Adam Sewell in Texas that's been helping me substantially. So I owe you one. Let's get inside of Dean Cain.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience.
I love how you turn on the Zoom and you're singing Desperado. That's how it starts.
It playing in the house just beforehand, and I figured I'd turn it off for the podcast because you probably don't need to hear the Eagles in the background the whole time.
I just saw them at the Sphere.
Right here. That's literally right there. Well,
you're in Vegas?
I'm in Vegas. I live in Henderson, Nevada, baby.
Now, do you gamble or you're not into all that stuff?
I mean, I like to play poker, but I've lived here for almost 2 years and I've played poker once.
Wow.
It's just, you don't go to the strip when you live here. Neighborhood, dead silent. House, 10 times the value you get in California.
What do you do in Vegas, though? What can you do? I could be no. I'm asking that because not because it's lame. It's awesome. But all I know is going there to gamble and
there's
see
that part.
shows.
You can do that part. I like to shoot guns and things.
Right.
I just take all my guns, put them in my truck, drive half an hour from my house. I'm in the desert, set up my targets, have fun.
Wow.
You got Lake Mead right here. If you want to go on Lake Mead, houseboats, things like that, like crazy, especially in the summertime because it's super hot. You got the Hoover Dam right here, 20 minutes from my house. You have the entire strip, which has every hotel has 9 incredible restaurants. When your friends come in, like when my friends came to LA, they're like, "Hey, Dino, I'm in LA. Let's hook up." I'm like, where are you staying? They're like, "Downtown." I'm like, "If you come to Malibu, I'll see you. But I'm not driving an hour and a half to downtown, having dinner, then driving that. No."
I hear you.
Here they're going to the Sphere to see the Eagles. And I go have a drink with them before they go to the show. They're staying in a hotel. Great. I get to see everybody. Every convention comes here. Then you got Mount Charleston, which is mountains and snow. And it's right, an hour from here. You got everything.
Wow. You convinced me. I think I'm going to move to Vegas.
10 times what your place. Like, I sold my house in Malibu for millions of dollars more than this house, which is 10 times the house.
So you're saving money. You're investing that money and living in a place where it's less expensive to live.
Yep. I mean, I got an elevator. I've got a theater, full theater.
You have an elevator in your house.
Yeah.
How many square footage? How much square?
6,500.
6,500. What? Do you live alone?
My son and his girlfriend live here as well.
You have your son and his girlfriend living with you.
He's my 24-year-old. Yeah, it's the best.
Really?
I love it.
Why do you love it?
Because I love my son. He's my favorite human being on the planet.
Oh, that's
like
awesome.
Literally, we sit up at night. We're sitting there. We're downstairs. We'll be sitting in front of the fire, just chatting away, talking about life, talking about this or that or whatever. His girl, or all three of us will be sitting down there. Or my parents who live 5 minutes away, they'll also come over. So it's just family together all the time. And the house is so big. I have an entire wing of the house. I have an entire wing. So you don't have to
see anybody if you don't want to.
No, nobody.
Dude, I love that. I love your relationship with your son. I wish I had that. With my dad, it's a certain relationship, but it's not something where we could sit there and be open and talk about everything and just like, it's just not that and never will be. But I think, does it have anything to do with how you were brought up and the father maybe that you didn't have, or you could maybe explain is why you wanted to be a better father and you didn't want that for your son?
My dad, so my biological father I never met. I'm quarter Japanese and my given name is Tanaka, but my mom remarried when I was 4 to my father now. Christopher Cain is my dad. He's a director, but he wasn't back then. He was just a struggling actor. And then he married my mom, who had 2 kids from a prior marriage, who were, quarter Japanese, looked very Japanese as children too. So whenever my dad says to me now, "Oh, you're making a big mistake there," I go, "Dad, you married mom with 2 kids and no job. There's nothing I could do that is dumber than that." So he came into my life and was an unbelievable father. And still is. He's still with us. He's 81 years old. And they left here 10 minutes ago.
Wow.
I get to see my folks all the time.
That's beautiful.
But my dad, if I want to make my dad uncomfortable, I just hug him. And he's like,
my dad was uncomfortable. My grandfather, I used to go, I say, "Irv, I love you." And he goes, "All right, Mike. Okay." And I go, No. I just said, "I love you." What do you say back? He goes, What do you want? I go, "I want you to say, I love you back." So I have to teach this man how to love. And I go, he goes, "I love you. Come on, you know this. What do you?" I go, "Give me a hug." He goes, "No, all right." It was, but I love that. I envy that. I think that's a beautiful thing.
My son and I will hug my son and tell him I love him literally 35 times a day.
Does he hate it?
No, he hugs me back.
That's awesome. Let me ask you, your biological father you never saw again?
No, he died in, I think, 2005.
Did he even know about you? Did you think he knew about you, or?
Oh, I know he knew about me because when I started doing Lois and Clark, season 1, I get a call from my publicist at the time, and he was like, "Hey, these people reached out and said that your biological dad wants to, wants to get in contact with you." I said, but they're through like Inside Edition or something. I think it was Inside Edition.
Wow.
and they want to get in touch through Inside Edition. I was like, well, did he try to get in touch with me, without Inside Edition? Just get in touch with me? Well, no, I don't think that's the case. And I was like, well, and he goes, so I'm not even going to tell you. I didn't even tell you. Because if I tell them that I told you and you don't respond, that's in the story. So I was just like, whatever, this is ridiculous. And then I watched an interview that he gave on Inside Edition. What? Just shocked. Watching him talk about, I don't want to be Dean's dad. I'm like, I've never seen you before, dude. You can't be my dad. My dad is this 5'9" Dutch English guy named Christopher. And so he was never a part of my life. I never got to know that Japanese side of my family or that history.
So you never went. Yeah, you never like engaged. You're like, I'm not. No, this is.
I didn't miss anything. I wouldn't feel like I was needing anything when I was growing up.
No.
And then when I got to that place, I was like, really? I mean, come on. And the interview that he gave made it seem like it just made me mad.
What did he say?
Really? He said that he claimed that he was in Vietnam when my mom left him. He was in Atlanta. He was having an affair. I have a brother who's 4 months younger than me. There was a little lap over that. My mom was pregnant with me. And there's a guy 4 months younger than me, also named Tanaka, to the woman that he ended up marrying. And then that broke up and he had more kids. So like these other kids were running around in the video in North Dakota. And he's like, and they've got capes on and stuff. And I was like, what am I watching? What is this?
So you had no interest. You didn't feel anything deep down. Like I wanted nothing. And there was no reason to. You didn't know.
My dad is my dad. And my dad is my dad. And he fulfilled me and raised me. And my dad is the single strongest influence in my life, without a doubt. I love my mom and she's the most wonderful mother, but my dad was always there. I needed a dad. A strong, young, very strong-willed young man, aggressive. You got to have a way to tame that and teach that and cultivate that into the right things.
Unconditional love, unconditional love. Like he was proud of you. Told you like he was hard. How hard?
He's from South Dakota and he was raised on a farm. So I took the belt a few times.
You got the belt.
Yeah, but he would do that. But then he would come in 15 minutes later, half an hour later, after my mom probably yelled at him. She instigated him going to smack me anyway.
Yeah.
Then he does it. And then he comes out and catches shit for it, basically. And then comes back in and would apologize to me and explain why he did it. And that was always the saving grace. Sometimes I think I got in trouble just to get the butt whipping, to see how far I could push it.
Wow. So you think a lot of times, in a way, you deserved it?
Oh, God, yeah. There's very few instances where I didn't deserve that.
Right. Because now, parents are like, you don't hit your children, you don't. And like, I'm not saying you should, but like, it seems like kids walk all over their parents these days. And so, when I was a kid, if I said something, Irv
would give it to you.
It wasn't Irv. Irv was my grandfather, but like
I know, but my grandfather would give it to me.
Yeah, Irv never got mad at me. He never did that. But my dad was 6'5", big dude. So when it was, and I was a little guy. I didn't grow till after high school, but it was that was the norm. We got spanked, and we got like all my friends growing up, and like maybe
I never spanked my son, but I'd be a liar if I said I never smacked him on the butt when he wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or grabs your arm, when we're in the mall and I'm acting up.
You get the grab.
Get over here. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. That move.
What I used to do to piss my son off, and I still do it now just because it's so much fun, is give him a little skee ball in the back of the head.
Yeah.
That lights a fuse under his butt. My son's 6'3".
Don't.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 220, 215, whatever, and just a jujitsu fighter. So if I do that, it's usually on.
And you guys are going to go
at it for a second. I just wrestle until I tap because I get tired.
You were born in Michigan?
Yep, Mount Clemens, Michigan, at Selfridge Air Force Base.
Yeah, I grew up in Indiana. I was born in New York, but I grew up in southern Indiana. And, I don't know about you. You grew up on an Air Force base?
Well, I was only there till I was 3.
So you grew up in a neighborhood?
Yeah, in Cape Part housing, which was the military housing.
Oh, right. I just remember growing up in Indiana, and people can't relate, but it's like cutting 3 yards, drinking out of garden hoses, playing wiffle ball, playing street hockey.
Exactly how I grew up.
Catching
but we were
fireflies.
surfing because I grew up in California.
Yeah.
Most.
And your mom wanted to pursue an acting career?
Oh, Mom. Yeah. So my mom was Miss Michigan International Speedway. She was a Playboy bunny who served at the clubs.
So she was hot.
Oh, Mom's hot. Yeah, there's no question.
Well, you said Mom's hot. She's still hot?
she's 78. But if you and I and, you know, 4 other people went to dinner and you took a glass of red wine and you just kind of swiped it under her nose, she'd be on the bar dancing.
Still to this day. So she wanted to be an actor. Was she acting at all in Michigan or anything? I know she was sort of this playmate sort of feel like personality.
Yeah, but she's a Playboy bunny, worked at the clubs. But she did have one photo shoot that she did do. And
naked?
It was like, well, let me explain. Yes, but backside, looking back over her shoulder with a see-through negligee on. You know, back when Playboy was a little more discreet. And,
yeah.
So I'm in 5th grade. And my mom had that picture next to her bed and everything, you know, so I knew it was there. I knew it was my mom. I'm in 5th grade and my buddy calls me up and he's like, Dean, come over to the house right now. We had those regular phones, you know, they're plugged into the wall.
Oh, yeah.
My buddy goes, you got to come over to the house. I found my dad's old Playboys and I put them all in photo albums. Remember the old photo albums that used to have the little,
the plastic you pull up back, you put, I have those.
The full page things.
I do.
So you better get your pictures out of there soon because they don't last forever.
I know.
So he goes, come over. She goes, look at this. He opens it up and it's like, look at her, whatever, blah, blah. And he flips the page and he goes, look at her ass. And I go, that's my mom.
That's the first time you saw your mom like that?
I had seen my mom's picture because it was next to the bed on her bed, but the kids hadn't been up there. My friends hadn't gone to my parents' room.
How embarrassed were you?
Oh, no, wasn't even embarrassing. Didn't even think twice about it. I was like, that's my mom. And he was like, what?
Was he like, oh my God, that's your mom?
We laughed for probably an hour. We probably laughed so hard, I don't think we spoke for 40 minutes. And Darren Perman, if you're listening, you know it was you, buddy.
Darren, you pervert. So, all right. So, wow, this is incredible. You move out to.
I've never shared that story, by the way.
I love that story. That's a great story.
That's what happens when you get inside of me, Michael.
Inside of You is brought to you by Rocket Money. Guys, I always try to help you save money. I mean, that's what I'd like you to do. I'd like everybody out there to actually save some money and not waste money, and that's what Rocket Money does. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow savings. You can grow your savings with Rocket Money. We talk about this all the time, but it just happened to me. Like, one of my friends was telling me, like, he's like, I didn't know I had this subscription. I wish I could say the name, but I had it for like 6 months and I didn't know. And he was paying a lot. And if he just had Rocket Money, Ryan, they could have taken care of that. And he could have saved $100 right there. So I don't know. I think it's really important. Sign up for an account with Rocket Money. And do it now because you're just going to save.
See all your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. For ones you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them.
Yeah, Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lowering your bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service so you don't have to. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions. Is this right? Wow. Saving members up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/inside today. That's rocketmoney.com/inside. rocketmoney.com/inside. You know, it's so funny because like I was always embarrassed by my mother because I always thought because she interviewed baseball players and stuff for the like Newberg Register, and I always thought for sure she's banging these professional athletes. I said my brother and I were convinced that she was having affairs with all these major league ball players, and I'm like, my dad acted like he didn't give a shit. I'm like, Dad, she's probably banging Bill Buckner or something. You know, it's not the only thing under his legs.
Damn.
Remember the ball? Remember the ball under his legs?
Oh, the 86,
86
right?
World Series.
Was it 86?
Yep, 86 against my Mets.
Booted it.
So you go out to she wants to go out to California to become an actor?
Yeah, so she's a single mom with 2 kids, 2 Japanese-looking babies, and it wasn't so cool back then. I mean, my family, on my dad's side, my biological father's side, they were interred during World War II, including my biological father in the Minidoka internment camp in Idaho, 45 minutes away from where I'm a reserve police officer now, which is weird.
Wow.
And I haven't been over there yet, but I'm going over soon. I got to see it. But so they were interred in that. So during that time, it wasn't so cool to have mixed race kids and so on and so forth. And so she took off with her 2 kids, went out to California, met my dad, a struggling actor. They fell in love and it was on. They got married when I was 4 and that was dad. And my mom is an actress and she's done lots of movies, but my dad became a director. And so she sleeps with the director to get all her movies. Of course, it's my dad, but still. But that's other than Star Trek.
Makes sense.
Trek.
So when did the acting bug get inside of you?
I did it when I was growing up because my dad was making movies. He's like, okay, you and your brother stand there. And when I say action, start a snowball fight. And I was like, really? And we thought we were acting. So we were on set growing up our entire lives. So I just thought everybody grew up on set and everybody lived in Malibu and everybody went to the beach all day long and whatever. I thought that was all just normal. I didn't think we were special.
Right.
I didn't think there was anything cool about it. I found out later how damn lucky we were.
Right.
But I wasn't bit by it. I grew up with Sean Penn, Chris Penn, Rob Lowe, Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez.
Is this a good Chris Penn accent? He's just going to decide out of the fucking blue. No, I'm just kidding. It's in Reservoir Dogs.
That was his version.
Why don't you tell me what really happened? He had that kind of, but like you grew up in Charlie Sheen.
Yeah,
and Rob.
I played baseball with Charlie for like 9 years.
What was he like?
I mean, the Penn's parents of mine, Leo and Eileen, they're Sean and Michael and Chris's parents, my parents, and they were like super close, like best friends. So I was with them we'd have the Super Bowl parties at the Penn's house, the things,
How was Sean? Right was Sean an intense kid?
Sean was a very intense kid, but Sean was a great surfer. And being a really good surfer, that was sort of the currency in Malibu. Like we go to the beach and Sean would be just ripping, and we grew up with all those guys like Spicoli. And I would guess if I were to talk to, and listen, I don't agree at all with Sean politically, almost ever. But if people were attacking Sean, I'd put my back onto his and I'd fight him off, period. Because he's still family. They're family. And that's another thing that's gone so wrong in this current society is that people, if they disagree on politics, they hate each other. And I don't get that at all. I don't get it at all. In fact, Sean's father was blacklisted back in the McCarthy era. So it's just crazy stuff. So,
but he was an intense kid and he was a great surfer and you guys were not close, but friendly.
Oh, if I saw Sean right now, I would hug him. You know what I mean?
Because you have a history. You have a history.
Oh yeah.
And Charlie
together.
And Charlie?
Charlie and I played baseball together for like 9 years.
Was he a good ball player?
Yeah, he's a pretty good ball player. Do I think he got scholarship offers?
You got scholarship offers.
I got a lot of scholarship offers.
For football. Were you always a big kid?
No, I was a pretty good sized kid, but I was always very skinny. Even by my freshman year in college, I was 175.
Right.
So I wasn't a big. I ran track. I played every sport under the sun, but I was a pretty good sized kid, but I wasn't a big kid.
So
I guess I was pretty.
How'd the acting thing happen?
So all these other friends of mine started acting. When Sean started acting, when he did Fast Times, I was like, what the? He was playing like a combination of about 3 guys I knew.
Yeah.
One in particular, but I won't say because unless Sean agrees that I think it was this guy. I've never talked to him about it, but he was playing an amalgamation of kids that I grew up with.
Yeah.
And then I went off to college, and most of these guys didn't go to college. Holly Robinson, Rob Lowe, these guys didn't go to college.
Yeah, their careers took off
went off. And so I'm in college and these guys are all becoming hugely famous. My dad, in fact, produced and directed Young Guns, the original first Young Guns.
Are you serious?
So, yeah. So I was back from college one time and he throws a script. He used to always throw scripts at me and say, read it and tell me what you think. And I was a very ready. I read all the time. I liked reading. I ended up being a history major and my dad was cultivating my writing. I've written 35 scripts with my father.
Wow.
So it's awesome. And we're working together now, but he would throw a script at me and go, read this. And he threw a script at me and I read it like a story and it was Young Guns. And he goes, I said, yeah, I read it. He goes, do you think Emilio could play Billy? And I was like, yeah. Especially because it's written kind of goofy. Now, Emilio was a great athlete. Emilio was incredibly fast on the track team, and our track team was very good. He was on the 4x1 4x100 relay, which is you got to have speed. I was on the 4x400 relay. I was a
stamina.
The 400 meters is strip is a sprint. But it's not the same as the 100 meters.
Right.
It takes me 100 meters to get going sometimes. But he was on a 4x100, so very good athlete, funny, and just a great guy.
So,
I was like, yeah, I think
so. You said yeah, and you think that influenced your dad?
Of course. The same way, we as not so young people would ask a young person, does this sound like something interesting that you and your friends might watch or whatever? I said, yeah, I think he could play it. I think it'd be good. And having known him for so many years, and then it turned out that, Emilio, Charlie, all these guys. In fact, there's a little known, my brother and Tom Cruise are two of the bad guys that get shot in like the final shootout.
Right.
Tom Cruise and Emilio were good friends. So Tom came out, they put a big mustache on him and he took a big shot.
Really?
So
I didn't know Tom
famous
Cruise was
extra.
in that.
Yeah. But as an uncredited extra, I could show you the shot.
Oh my God. I gotta look it up or get a screenshot of that. That is
I'll send it to you.
Were you at all interested? Your dad's doing all these big movies. Go, I want to play a role. I want to do this.
He thought, he's like, you could do this if you want to do this, this things. And there was talk even before Charlie took the role of Jim Brewer. I think it's Jim Brewer, but in The Young Guns, I was like, well, if I was going to play anybody, I'd play him. But I was a college kid and hadn't acted. So I was like, I was looking at my friends because I went to Princeton. So I'm in New Jersey. I'm looking at what my friends did in the summer times, and they're all going to Wall Street. They're working 40, 50 hours a week minimum on the street in suit and ties in the New York City summer, sweating their tails off, taking the subway. I was like, this sucks. I'm going to go onto my dad's set, Young Guns, and I'll fart around there for 3 weeks and then I'll go train for football. That was so much more enticing to me than that other sort of business. Now, some of my friends became billionaires, so maybe I screwed up, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love coming in. Doing a series is different than doing a movie. And obviously, that having spent as many years as you did on a series, you sort of feel trapped.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's no other life outside it. So I didn't understand all that yet. I just thought, be a movie star, be like these guys, play cops and robbers.
But like you were injured, your knee?
My knee. That's why I ended up in the NFL with the Buffalo Bills right there.
Who signed it? Anybody?
Helmet. And there's the Princeton helmet. Although we didn't wear that helmet when I was there. That looks better. That's the current helmet.
So you played Princeton football, and then you got drafted and you got hurt.
Free agent, but you hurt your knee. Yeah.
And that was it.
I didn't think that was it because they said, oh, we think you're going to have surgery. And I said, all right, well, per the collective bargaining agreement at the time, I could choose my doctor. And I had been operated on previously by Curlin Job over in Inglewood. So I wanted them to do it, not the Buffalo doctors, which I think might have ticked off Bill Polian, our general manager. He doesn't even remember it now. I've seen him since.
Right.
And he probably ticked him off, but it was my right. And so I went back to California, had the surgery done, found out there was a bigger problem, a defect in my knee where I blew off a piece of cartilage. So they did this microfracture surgery. And the idea was that I was going to get better and come back the following season. They were going to waive me after I was healthy, but it never got healthy. And so I ended up having to file an injury grievance.
Were you heartbroken?
No, because I didn't think it was over. What's going on? I want to make sure. Is that you? My child. I ended up filing an injury grievance and winning that. I'm just making sure. Smart House is telling me everything that's going on. The doors open, this happened, blah, 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 blah. That's something I wasn't used to with Smart House. But the injury grievance, it ended my career. I mean, it was it. I mean, once we got to the playoffs that year in November, and they cut me off of injured reserve, which was against the collective bargaining agreement. I sued an injury grievance, which means I know I'm out of the NFL, but I got my little baby undrafted free agent rookie money, which was a lot of money for me at the time.
Yeah.
Now it's way more.
Yeah.
But then it was a lot of money.
But from that, after that, that's when you started taking acting seriously?
Yeah, well, because then I started thinking, all right, but the idea was that I was going to go play in the NFL and write screenplays. So I was going to exercise my body all day long, and at night I would write screenplays because my dad was really cultivating me as a writer. And I was writing with him all the time, and I did all his ghostwriting and everything he was doing. I did it all. So the idea was I was going to do both. But then suddenly football was gone. Now I was just rehabbing in California. So I started writing, and I started writing for him, writing. And then, the acting part, he didn't want me to be an actor.
Why?
Is that actually his advice to me when I said I might be an actor? He said 3 words: don't do it. And I was like, wow, okay. And the idea behind that is like, if you can do something else, do that.
Right.
Because it's such a he didn't want me in the limelight. He didn't want me being critiqued by millions of people.
Because he knew, he saw it happen constantly.
100%.
Right.
And I watched the mistakes that, Rob Lowe made, and I watched the mistakes that Charlie made and some of the things. And he was like, don't do that.
So why did you do it?
Because I thought it was fun. I thought that was a much more fun way. I enjoyed the writing. I love all filmmaking. I like writing, producing, directing. I could just do one or just the other or both or all of them in a film, and I'll be real happy.
Yeah.
I just love that process, the creating a process, and then being focused on one project and then being done with it. Like, this piece of work can stand on its own. I can give it to you, and you can watch it and experience it. And I can give it to them, and they can. I love that. That's a wonderful thing, and you can express yourself in so many different ways. So the acting was just sort of a way in.
Did you take lessons?
Yes, I did at first, and it was great because there were a lot of great people in my acting class. Costas Mandalore, Talisa Soto, like half the people, 3/4 of the people in the class ended up doing very, very well. I did that, but I didn't love it because it kind of felt like we were psychoanalyzing ourselves all the time and stuff like that. I didn't like that.
What are you feeling right now? What is it? What is your secret? What is your darkest fear?
I said I don't like that stuff because that's not what happens on everyday things. You need that to go certain places and do certain things. Maybe that works for certain people. Charlie Sheen never took an acting class in his life, but Charlie is just Charlie being Charlie half the time.
Right.
The acting I wasn't jumping up and down about.
Yeah.
But I started taking class, and then when I would go auditions, I wouldn't get any jobs. When I stopped taking acting class and I said, I'm just going to be me, I started booking commercials like a madman.
So you're telling other actors, don't take class. No, obviously.
That's what it sounds like.
You know what? It works for some people. Some people, for me, it was about confidence. The more plays I did, the more acting class. But there was a point where I was like, I don't want someone to tell me what to do anymore. I want to still have a big part of myself in every role. So I knew when to sort of go, okay, I got a lot of training. I know how to do this now. I'm going to add more of me to everything. So, but you were like, I'm just going to be me. Charlie's doing it. Chris is doing it. Let's move on. So you started booking stuff. What were you booking?
Oh, Budweiser commercials, Dr. Pepper, Diet Coke, Frosted Flakes.
Big money.
Oh yeah. I made 4 years. I did 40 something national commercials. I made a lot of money and I was able to supplement my writing.
So then what?
Then I auditioned for and got a guest star on Life Goes On.
Oh yeah.
As a Hawaiian kid. So I was playing a Hawaiian kid because I'm basically Hapa anyway. So that's what it is. I'm Japanese and white. Hi, sweetheart.
Japanese, Irish, French, Canadian. The list goes on.
It does. So this is Malibu. This is my son's doggy.
What a cute.
And Malibu
dog.
was named Malibu because he got her while he was in college in North Carolina and wanted a piece of Malibu with him. She's so sweet.
So sweet.
And then we moved back to Malibu. Actually, I took the dog because getting a dog in college is stupid.
It is.
And then okay, I love you too. I love you too. I don't. Okay, so Malibu. Now that we live in Vegas, Malibu can be Malibu again, and it's not weird that Malibu lives in Las Vegas. So I don't know where I was.
You were saying you got a part on Life Goes On as a Hawaiian.
Oh yeah.
Kid.
So I was playing a Hawaiian surfer guy. And I come out, my introduction shot was so great. Rick Rosenthal directed.
I love Rick.
Oh, so great. And he's like,
well, what I want you to do here is you gotta come in with more confidence.
Yep. Go ahead. Thank you.
well, I came out of the water with the surfboard all wet from surfing, and they played Zarathustra. Dun 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 dun.
Amazing.
So when we saw this air, I was with my parents watching it air. My dad was laughing so hard that he couldn't breathe, and I could watch his nostrils like flaring with every laugh that his son was doing this. But I thought it was fun to act, and it was a way. Certainly, I made money early as a doing commercials. And then when I did that role, then I started getting on this sort of the Spelling, Aaron Spelling, Mr. Spelling list. So I would go in, I did 4 episodes of 90210.
How was the cast to work with?
Well, it was really interesting. I learned I did most of my stuff with Shannon Doherty. So I wasn't without the other guys at first. So it was just Shannon and I doing stuff. And I was like, this is the biggest, at the time, the biggest show like in the world. So it was everywhere. And then I came in to sort of the main area because I was supposed to be in France. I thought we were going to France to shoot it. We went to Universal.
Damn it.
The Universal. I was so pissed. I was like, oh, I'm going to leave the country. No. So we shot that stuff. It was all great. But then finally my character sort of goes to UCLA, transfers from Wisconsin, goes to UCLA and runs into her. So then I had to go meet the whole rest of the cast. Well, when I first came in, the first guy I met, the first thing was going on was Luke Perry. And I saw him across the way and I figured they're gonna be like, oh, this new dude coming in, whatever, we're gonna be dicks to him. Luke goes across, sees me, goes, comes right over, shakes my hand. He goes, hey, Dean, I'm Luke. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show.
Wow.
Really love what you're doing. You know, it's so great, the stuff that you guys have been doing, and it's wonderful. And we're really happy to have you.
How sweet is that?
Appreciate you. I was like,
it means so much, doesn't it?
So much so that I took that lesson from Luke, and Jason Priestley came in the next day and did the exact same thing.
Sweetest guy. Yeah.
Sweetest guy in the world. So I was like, well, shit, this is how it's supposed to be when you're on a set. So when I got my own show, whoever the guest star was, I would knock on the trailer door. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for coming here. I appreciate you coming in and working with us. You know, it's
wonderful thing
every time. So it was a very valuable lesson
because it's not easy being a guest star. Was Shannon Doherty cool?
Sometimes she was super cool. Sometimes she was like, I was supposed to my character was supposed to break up with her because she faked her being French, but she's like, well, and it was written that way and I saw it, but then it changed suddenly. Like I was being a dork and singing with her dad. I was like, what is this? She's like, well, I couldn't have a guest star come in and break up with me. And I was like, why not? I don't get it.
Really? So, it was her idea.
Yeah,
like, I don't want him breaking up with me.
I guess, but you know, bless Shannon, and she's passed, and she was really fun to work with and so sweet. And I saw her a lot near the end of her days, and on occasion, and I got to see her, and I thought that I didn't realize that that had taken that turn for the worse. Yeah. One of my friends growing up was like her best friend. So it was very sad, but she was difficult at times and wonderful at times.
Inside of You is brought to you by Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. If you have a small business, folks, if you have a big business, Shopify is for you. If you want to sell products, I don't know of anything else. If there's anything else out there, I've never heard of it. It's Shopify. That's all I hear about, and that's all I use. I have 2 podcasts, and as the podcast has grown, you know, visibility is important, and selling products is important, and keeping folks happy. And to navigate Shopify is so easy that I can do it. You're looking at someone who is incompetent when it comes to many things with technology. Everything's right there in front of you. You just upload a picture of your product, right? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You put the price.
You do that too. It's easy.
You weigh it. I have a little scale that costs $5. Oh, it's 5 ounces. Shipping, everything's done for you right there. Analytics tells you how good your product's doing compared to last month or last year. How many products you have left of this particular product. Shopify is truly awesome. Get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style.
Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography.
Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your e-commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your 1 month, $1 per month trial period and start selling today at shopify.com/inside. Go to shopify.com/inside. That's shopify.com/inside. Are you an emotional guy? Do you get, you cry in front of your kid?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Oh God, yeah. I was driving to LA, go shoot a movie 2 weeks ago. And my son and his girlfriend are with me because they're going out there for something else. So we all went, instead of flying, I took a car. So I had to bring stuff back that I had left at my buddy's house, stuff. So we're all driving along and my son's playing this song that I hadn't heard. It was Eminem and somebody else. And it's about like his death. And he was talking to his girl and his daughter's talking the whole thing. I'm driving the vehicle and I hear this and all I can hear is my baby boy's voice. And I'm driving, and I don't know if you've ever cried when you're driving, but you can't freaking see. It's like reading a book and crying. You can't read anymore because you can't see. I'm crying with those two in the car listening to this song. I was like, are you serious? So that sort of emotion, yes, I'm very open with
You could have got a
CUI.
A crying.
What's that? I know.
You could have got a crying
driving under the influence of Eminem.
Yeah.
Emotion.
So that's sweet though. Like you have a soft side.
Oh God, yeah. The hardest guys I know, and I know some really hard guys, soldiers, and I was in Iraq, for 17 days with our men and women there. I've seen war. I don't like it. I'm a sworn deputy sheriff. I see a lot of awful.
So you
things,
had to go to cadet school or whatever? You had to go to
the academy. I did most of that stuff online, but I have to qualify in all the weapons. I do all the online work, and I have to do 120 hours roughly.
Could you arrest someone if you wanted?
If I wanted, if they broke the law, I could arrest them.
You could.
Yeah, of course, but if they didn't break the law, I can't. But I just keep these here for fun. Those are just for fun.
Do you ever bring them with you in case someone's like, acting like an asshole?
I always have them with me,
Michael. I always have the cuffs.
I got the cuffs or zip ties with me at all times.
Every room. I
got a gun in every room, not the cuffs.
Was your mom at all jealous or truly happy for you when you were starting to do the acting thing?
Well, because my mom's an actress, she thinks I'm a terrible celebrity. She's like, you're the worst celebrity. I would be so much better a celebrity than you because I don't want to go anywhere. And she's like, oh, you going to the Golden Globes? You going to the Grammys? You going to I'm like, no, I'm not. Nothing I'm in is.
That's what I think. I'm not going unless I'm invited or part of something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going. And then they'll be like, hey, and Michael, so why are you here tonight?
I just thought it'd be cool to come to the Globes and be seen and get pictures like I'm someone.
That's what my mom would want to do. I feel like an
absolute idiot, and I don't feel like I belong anywhere. So, yeah, I don't do that. Let me ask you this: how many times did you audition for Lois and Clark?
Oh my God! So that was you know what that process is like.
Yeah, but
my God!
But how was yours?
So mine was I had done some things, whatever. I was the first person that the producers saw for the role. So it had been out there, and I knew I was getting hot because I had like 4 different shows that wanted that at this point in time. 2 of them already wanted to take me to network, and this was the 3rd one, and there was a 4th one that came in. So you have to test. You have to say first position, second position, whatever. So this is all going on. So I knew things were happening fast, but then this one was 6 on air, guaranteed. They were like, it's Superman, and I was like, that's for television. It's gonna suck, right? We're not gonna have the money. I'll read the script, so I had to drive like we did back in the day. Drive in, go pick up the script, drive home. Now they didn't just email it to you because we didn't have that. So I went and read the script that night, and I was like, oh wow, this is different. I like this take. I understand this take on this character.
Yeah.
So I went in the next day. It was Robert Butler, who was the pilot director for Hill Street Blues. And if he did your pilot, you were going to be in good shape.
Yeah.
What a great guy he was. And Deborah Joy Levine, who wrote it and created it. And then a casting associate, just some girl there. And I read it the night before, and I came in and I said, hey, everybody, nice to meet you. I didn't realize I was the first person they were seeing, but I was like, nice to meet you. And they said, what do you think of the script? I said, I read it last night. I thought it was really great. I think I kind of have maybe a different take on this than other people might. It seems kind of personal to me. And he goes, all right, let's see it. I read the scenes. Thank you. All right, thank you. Bye. Left. Never thought about it again. 3 weeks go by. And, when you do an audition like that, you usually hear something pretty early. Oh, they really liked you. Didn't hear a thing. So I just took that and pushed it over here. All right, that's done. Well, my buddy and I were at some sort of party thing, and one of his friends was a casting associate at Warner Brothers, or at the time it was Lorimar Television. And she goes, "Hey, they really like your roommate." It was my roommate. They really like your roommate for the Superman show. And he's like, "What?" And that's the first I had heard of it. I had heard nothing until then. And then the next day, I got the first callback. Well, when I went in there for the callback, there was 9 actors that I recognized. And I was like,
all beautiful looking, all like, and you're like, do you get intimidated?
Like, Superman, Jimmy, probably Jimmy. You know?
Did you get intimidated?
Not intimidated, but because they were known actors.
You were like, shit, I thought there was like me and 2 guys, not 9.
That's exactly. And I was like, okay, we're at
this.
this part of the process. All right, I'm a competitor. I've done it when I've walked on a football field and been, the 3rd string corner, 3rd string safety, or whatever it is. I'll earn my spot. Okay, great. So I was like, okay, it's going to be a brawl. I hope that I don't lose it because one of these guys is famous yet, and then so I went through that bit and it was good. And I was working with actresses, which made all the difference in the world, because acting is so much of it is reacting. And I'm that I love that. Give me that and I'll react to it. So that went well. And then we came in again, and then they started, this time it was like pairing up people. So Paula Marshall, I think, was the actress that I was paired up with a lot. And she was great. And we had a great time doing it. And then I started getting paired down. I was probably there 6 times. And then finally I got the network offer. And there was 2 guys that go on a network for Superman. It was myself and Kevin Sorbo.
Wow.
And Kevin, blonde hair, long. I was like, guy looks like Hercules. Well, he wasn't Hercules yet. But I thought, okay, I got a good shot here, just based on the looks. They're going to darken his hair and whatever. And then I ended up that I got it. And the one girl that I hadn't auditioned with or paired up with, even at network, was Teri Hatcher. I saw her there, but I was so nervous trying to get the job and people don't understand this. If you're going to go, and you understand it, of course, but if you're going to go to network to test for a series, you've already done your contract.
Yep.
You know how much money is on. You
know how it is. Yep.
And so that just ramps up the pressure. And so I ended up getting it. And then 4 days later, they had me come in and read with 10 different Lois Lanes. And the last one was Teri. And I recognized her I knew that she was there from all the other girls I hadn't seen before at network or anything like that. But the scene was awesome, was that Lois and Clark had already been working together for a while, but Lois, when it broke up with her French photographer boyfriend guy or whatever, was inebriated and wanted to sleep with Clark. And Clark wants to, but doesn't do it. So he opens the door. She's inebriated, kisses me on the mouth, and proceeds to try to seduce me. And I can't do it, but I want to. That's the scene. 10 girls in a row in front of the network had to open the door, kiss me on the mouth, and then proceed to try and seduce me. It was hell, Michael.
Didn't you? It sounds like hell. But didn't you? My neurotic OCD mind would have gone like, can you just check to make sure they don't have any cold sores or don't feel like one's coming on?
My neurotic mind was, I hope that they don't realize that I'm not good enough actor to have this role. I hope I don't expose myself.
So you were nervous. You thought it was an imposter syndrome thing.
I thought they would. I thought once I got on set, I'd be okay. But I thought, shit, I just got this job Thursday. It's Monday. And the network is going to watch me do this scene 10 times in a row.
Wow.
And they're going to go, you know what? I don't think this kid can carry the series.
Let me ask you, this is an honest question. You got to answer honestly.
All right.
All these girls come in. When you left, did you think, oh yeah, it's Teri Hatcher? Or did you really thought out of all the girls, she was the one?
Yeah.
No doubt.
No, there were other girls that were good and they would have been wonderful Lois Lanes, but there was no doubt. Here's the funny thing is, so I did it with 9 girls. And then the 10th girl was going to be Teri. And they said, and I realized after 2 or 3 times that I wasn't getting fired. So I relaxed a lot. I was like, whew, because I listened to them. It was Les Moonves. It was all these guys talking about each actor as they came through. And I got to hear it from that side. I just shut my mouth and listened. And then the last one they said was Teri. And they go, Teri wants you to go and run lines with her. No other girl had asked me to run lines. So we hadn't even run lines. And we're doing it at network.
Wow.
They said, Teri wants to go run lines. I said, okay, good. I went in she's in this room. Okay. I went in the room, opened the room. I said, hey, and she goes, you don't like me, do you? what? She goes, we were at network together. You never talked to me. You didn't say hi to me. Anything. I go, you didn't say hi to me either. I was just trying to get a job. They never paired us up. I had no reason to talk to you. But that right there was the relationship between Lois and Clark. It really was. Lois drove the series, and that was her. And I was like, so then she came through and did it. And you know, I think she was the best Lois Lane. She was best kisser too. No offense to the other girls that was in there, but I ended up having to kiss Teri for 4 years.
Yeah, but
she was
after,
a wonderful kisser.
Out of all this, I mean, look, you hear things. People say, "Oh, Teri Hatcher I heard she's difficult to work with." I hear this. I hear that. I don't know her. So I'm not going to say anything. But like overall, was it a good experience?
Overall, it was amazing, incredible. What a way to start a career. What a way to learn what doing a 1 hour series is like.
Yeah.
People don't understand what that is. I mean, the fact that you guys did so many years, I can't. Lord,
I'm grateful as hell, but it's
taxing, man.
You suspend your
life.
Yeah. You just sort of go, this is, I'm on the show 10 months a year. I really don't have much of a life other than a month and a half off. And then, next thing you know, you're shaving your head again. But anyway, but back to you. Was I'm sure like you don't always get along great but was she easy to work with?
Sometimes the greatest thing in the world, and sometimes a lot more difficult. There were times where, we had great chemistry. There were times where it was just the easiest thing in the world. I'm a team guy, I'm real simple.
Right.
Plug me in. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. I'm here to get this done fast as we can. Would it help if I just jumped off the boxes? I could save us that entire stunt.
So you're over enthusiastic. You're excited to be there. And sometimes maybe she wasn't.
Well, yeah, I guess that could be that. But also it seemed like I just wanted to finish and go home. Right. I wanted to let's get it all done. Let's all do the best we can. Let's get it done. Let's go home. I almost feel like she didn't. There were times where I felt like, I don't think she wants to go home because she's worried about this one little thing that has nothing to do with what we're doing. And that's slowing us down for 2.5 hours. Like, I don't understand. Don't you want to go home?
Like, it doesn't have anything to do with the show?
It didn't really, would have had nothing to do with, it was the way somebody did something or this or that or blah, blah. Things that would, but, I guess makes sense. I mean, the makeup, she had her own makeup done in her trailer. Her makeup people couldn't touch anybody else. I'm in the trailer with everybody there. Great. But I didn't care. Right. Like that wasn't a thing for me. I was like, yeah.
It was just two different sort of work. Like, she probably was in her own head and probably more intense. And, you're just two
and she's a better actor.
People.
I'll give it to her. She carried the show.
Yeah.
And I just got to react off her. It worked wonderfully.
Right.
It worked wonderfully. It was a great pairing. And I give credit to Robert Butler and I give credit to Deborah Joy Levine for seeing that. She was, an icon. And I still think, no offense to anybody else's Lois Lanes, but I still think she's the best Lois Lane of all time.
If you saw her, would you hug?
Oh, yeah. I've seen her tons since. Oh, we're still very friendly, 100%. We didn't have like there was no like, I'm not talking to, well, there was a time she wasn't talking to me for a short time, I'm an athlete, man. If there's guys on my football team, we're going to hash it out.
Yeah.
So that we can still play ball together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So never an issue for me.
What about when the show ended? Were you really upset by it? Were you hurt?
We got picked up for a 5th season. So this was a funny moment. Tony Jonas was then the president of what was then Warner Brothers Television. Now it had become that. And they told us, they brought Teri and I into when you get called in by the president, it's going to be good news or bad news or whatever it is. So we went in and there were 2 huge big screen TVs. And he said, congratulations, we got picked up for a 5th year. And here's a gift for you, whatever. Teri didn't like that there was a television. And she was like, a television, whatever, blah, blah, give me something I could use, whatever. And this is a perfect example. And he was like, well, it's just a token to say, congratulations, here we go for a 5th season, whatever. And she was like, whatever, I would rather had something I could use or whatever, blah, blah. Anyway, so she leaves after a moment. She leaves, and I turn to Tony. I go, "Hey, Tony, I'll take that TV if she doesn't want it. I'll take both." And he's like, "Dean, get the fuck out of here," because that's how they can talk to me,
right?
And I'll be like, "All right." But
that is amazing.
You want to give me 2 TVs? I'll take 2.
I love that.
Get out of here. All right.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. 26% of Americans who participated in a recent survey say they have avoided seeking mental health support due to fear of judgment. You think nowadays that, it wouldn't be that. And it's a shame because so many people could really benefit from therapy. And, when people hesitate to get help, it doesn't just affect them. It impacts families, workplaces, and entire communities. This Mental Health Awareness Month, let's encourage everyone to take care of their well-being and break the stigma. The world is better when people are healthy and happy. Therapy is a great way to take care of your mental health. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it's for everyone. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma or loss. BetterHelp has over 10 years of experience matching people with the right therapist from their diverse network of more than 30,000 licensed therapists with a wide range of specialties. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. And with BetterHelp, you can easily switch therapists anytime at no cost. I think that's a big thing, where it's like, what if I don't like my therapist? Well, it's easy. You just change. And, it's online. You don't have to go in and see somebody. It's so easy. Start now. Start a good habit. Do something for yourself. We have a lot that's inside of us that we want to get out. We're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/inside to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/inside. But when the show ended, were you sad?
Oh, no. So sorry. So she
yeah.
got pregnant in that period of time. I didn't have anything to do with it. Promise you that. John Tenney, her husband, she married after the first season. So she was pregnant, but apparently it was going to be a very difficult pregnancy. I was off where was I? I was off in Toronto shooting a movie. And I was in, it was freaking raining. And I remember the day he called, it was raining and there was it was pelting hail. And I was like, this just sucks. And when I was shooting this movie where I'm just physical and running and I was sitting there and it's like, Tony Jones wants to talk, whatever. And I remember I walked outside and the hail had stopped suddenly. And he goes, well, Teri's got a very difficult pregnancy. So we're going to cancel the show. We're not going to do a 5th season. I celebrated. I was like, yes. Well, just because I knew how much work that was. And that was another year of my life. In retrospect, I wish we'd done that 5th year because I really would have liked to have tied things up, knowing that was the 5th year, because we ended the weirdest ending ever with a baby showing up. And it was just like, what? So I wanted to go on and do what Tyler Hoechlin gets to do and Bitsy, those guys get to do the kids. So I would have liked us to go into that version. I was pushing for that because I wrote episodes of the show. I really wanted us to go in that direction, but make up some new rules. But she was pregnant. I was very excited it was over because I was sort of freed from the bonds of an entire year of my life. And you know what that feels like. Yes. Nobody can understand that. But if you've done it, that's what you're locked. That's your whole life is on set.
Absolutely. Do you, and you've hosted a lot of stuff. I
like hosting stuff.
You have such a great personality for that because you like people. You're a people.
I do like people.
So
it's great.
How many years did you host Ripley's, believe it or not?
4. So I had an overall deal at Sony. And the thing was, they come up with different shows and different things. And if I liked it, so I had a first look deal. So I had to yes or no it. But they asked me about Ripley's, believe it or not. They're like, would you be interested in hosting? And I was like, hosting? I hadn't hosted anything at that point in time. Hosting? That's weird. And Ripley's, believe it or not, I'd only seen the Jack Palance version where it's like, believe it or not. And of course, Jack Palance was in Young Guns, the bad guy in Young Guns. So I had met Jack and very nice man and a legend. But I was like, I'm not as spooky as Jack. People aren't as scared. I'm a history major. I like the strange and unusual.
Yeah.
Robert Ripley was an incredible individual and he was a quirky dude. He liked weird things and he liked to celebrate the strange and unusual. So they came to me and said, would you like to host it? I said, nah. And they said, come on, think about it. But I said, nah. It's all right. Watch the show. Come meet with us. And I said, all right. So I came in with ideas. I said, if I were to host the show, then I would like it to be like this. I'm the curator of this museum, like the Mummy, but I have all the strange and unusual and I'll explain it. But I don't want to put down the people. I don't want them to like. I'm not making fun of the strangely unusual. I'm fascinated by it, and I want to do this, and I would like this, and I want this to happen, and I want the. And I've heard you say that. I believe this is one of your things that you said back in the day, but I said something similar was, and then I need you to back the Brinks truck up to the house.
Yes.
Because this is going to be expensive. I want this much, blah, blah, blah. We go through this meeting, son of a bitch. They said yes to everything. So I produced the show. My company produced the show. I shot the show. So I would shoot 8 days for a Lois and Clark episode. And those were 18 to 20 hours every time.
Yeah.
I would shoot 2 days for 6 episodes of Ripley's. And one day was a 10-hour day and one was a 7-hour day. I had to memorize.
That's it?
6 episodes in 17 hours in 2 days, 6 episodes. So I would go in. I didn't have to memorize anything. I looked at it all beforehand. We set it all up, did everything, blah, blah. I'd have those 2 days and I would do it on weekends because I made the schedule when I wasn't filming a movie. I'd finish the movie on Friday or whatever. Then I'd come in Saturday, Sunday.
What a gift.
It was the greatest gift ever. My son had just been born. I wanted to be around my kid all the time. So I made that. And then I loved doing the show. We had a blast on the show.
Yeah.
Strange and the Unusual was a freaking
dude. I love that shit. That's
we would
amazing.
laugh so hard. We would be shocked. We'd be outraged. I'd learn things. When John Wilkes Booth assassinated Abraham Lincoln in Ford Theater, he shot him in the head with a Derringer. And then he jumped out of that balcony and landed, broke his leg and dropped his backup Derringer. I held his backup Derringer in my hand. On the handle, it says J. Wilkes Booth. I mean, it was just like, I'm holding this piece of history. That stuff blew me away. The car that drove Lee Oswald to work the day that he went to the Dallas Book Depository and shot JFK, which maybe we're finding out that maybe he wasn't the only shooter. Right. I don't know what we're finding out when the files come out.
Yeah.
But that car, Robert Ripley bought. I'm like, this is the car. He was sitting in this car. Jesus. Just touching history like that was insane.
See, I love that stuff. All right, this is called Shit Talking with Dean Cain. These are my top tier patrons, patreon.com/inside. Thank you for supporting the show. Rapid fire. You ready? So this is like, bam. Little Lisa. Well, do you remember the last time you cried in the car, right? You said that.
That was just recently.
David L. I grew up on George Reeves' witty, worldly, wise Clark Kent. I read years ago that you modeled your Clark on George's Clark. Is that true?
My Clark Kent was George Reeves. My Superman was Christopher Reeve.
Amen. Leanne. Okay, got to ask, other than yourself, whose portrayal of Superman Clark Kent do you like the best and why?
I like the Superman version of it goes right back to the same answer. I love the Superman version of Christopher Reeve, and I love the Clark Kent that George Reeves did. That was it. No offense to Tyler or anybody else.
No. Christopher Reeve.
Those are my favorite. They already were before those other shows even started.
Yep. And Gene Hackman's my favorite Lex. Janelle B.
Oh my God, he was.
Janelle B.
My favorite Lex was Michael Rosenbaum. But that's just me.
Thanks. I got to kill you on Smallville.
I know.
That was sweet. I loved working with you. It was rainy. It was dark. It was outside. And we were just laughing a lot. I remember we were really laughing and it was late and I was kind of getting annoyed. Like, come on, let's film this fucking thing. And then, so I got to kill you, which was cool. I got to shoot you.
Well, I think you banished. I don't think I can be killed. I think you banished me somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
That's what it was. I was immortal.
Janelle B., what is the weirdest thing a fan has ever asked you to sign? You sign breasts. I know it.
Oh, yeah. God, that's not weird. Breasts are wonderful. I love breasts. I'm more of an ass guy myself, but I do appreciate it, perky breasts. Anyway, I made this comment once, was I wasn't getting a lot of underwear sent to me. Then I just got reams of underwear sent. So underwear. In the mail.
Flirtatious B, at a superhero con, you said Michael was certifiable. What's one of the favorite stories with him on set? What makes me certifiable?
Well, first of all, you're one of the funniest guys I've ever met. And I love doing panels with you because I barely have to speak.
That's what Tom says. That's what everybody says.
You and I and Tom did one together. And I sat there and I looked and I go, I don't think I have to say anything. And he goes, no, you don't. Neither of us do. We can just sit here. Michael, go, Terry. You were asking questions of the audience.
Yeah.
You had everybody doing stuff. And I was like, wow.
I love
it was
that.
awesome.
Do you ever?
You're certifiable, but you're a certifiable genius.
Oh, I wish I could say that. Hey, let me ask.
I can say it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me ask you, do you get anxiety or depression? Have you ever dealt with it in your life?
Sure. Anxiety for sure.
How do you deal with it?
Anxiety. The first time I ever got anxiety, because I don't smoke weed or anything like that, but I was in 12th grade, and my girlfriend at the time wanted me to smoke weed with her, blah, blah, blah. And I smoked it, but I didn't feel anything. I tried it again, I was like, I don't feel anything. And then it hit me. And then all of a sudden she was being the most annoying thing in the world, going, do you feel anything? It was driving me nuts. And I got an anxiety attack. I'd never even known what that was. And I was like, what is this I'm feeling? My heart is beating. And then probably started having it again, in the Lois and Clark days, because I couldn't live anywhere other than on set. I couldn't get enough sleep. I could never go to dinner.
So what did you do for it? What did you do for it?
George Clooney actually helped me out a lot. I was getting stomach aches, every morning, and then I'd be fine as I went on. George Clooney actually hooked me up with the guy who, through herbs and things like that, really calmed down my stomach and then helped that out. There was a time where I had, what is the
Lexapro?
Xanax.
Xanax.
That prescription for
That's
Xanax.
the worst drug.
I still have that prescription because sometimes I have to fly to the UAE, land, take a shower, and go to work. Things like that.
Right. But
so
you do it
flying.
sparingly. You don't. Yeah.
What's that?
You don't do it a lot. It's just when needed.
Oh God, no.
Right.
No,
right.
I had the last prescription I had was from like 7 years ago.
Yeah, I have prescriptions that are so old that I don't even. Yeah.
Hey, but if you need them, if you find yourself exhausted and flipping out and you're in the UAE, take one.
You ever go to therapy?
I never have been to therapy, but I have no aversion to therapy. There's a lot of people in my family that I've offered to take to therapy and go in with them. But I'm a talker. Like if I got a problem, you're going to know about it.
Yeah.
Like my family, if I got something wrong, people are gonna be like, Dean, are you depressed? But like, if I was depressed, you'd know, because I'd be like, hey, I'm depressed. Talk to me about it.
Yeah.
You're
like, no, I'm fucking mad. I'm mad right now. Dino's mad.
I have no problem with that. I encourage people to do it. I had to see a sports psychologist back when I was in college, because I got anxiety in college. I remember getting anxiety in college because it was so hot. College football was a lot more difficult, and I played volleyball and I ran track, so I was always playing sports. But the pressure at Princeton was really hard on the academics.
Yeah,
I was just like, man, I'm getting really anxious. And there was like, I had an asthma attack as well my sophomore year on the field, and didn't know what it was.
Thought you were dying.
My heart was going until I took an inhaler. And then, I didn't want to be, I was claustrophobic. Don't put me in these areas and da-da-da-da. So I sat down and spoke to a sports psychologist like 4 times, and that was awesome.
Yeah. I know this awesome, great sports.
You realize.
Yeah. This sports psychologist, his name is Michael Gervais. He worked with the Seattle Seahawks, and he's a friend. He's been on the podcast. He's coming back on, but like, he really is calming. He's like, he kind of puts you tell him about these situations, and he talks to you without giving you the answers. He says, well, it's just the way, a good sports therapist, psychologist, whatever, it's all helpful. I mean, just sitting there and listening to somebody, who knows what they're talking about. I encourage
it to anybody out there listening. If you have that opportunity, use it.
Yeah.
Because some people don't have great friends, or they don't have other people. And your friends don't always give the best advice. I mean, bless them. Your friends may love you, but they may be like, smoke a bong and sleep for the weekend or whatever. And you're like, well, that doesn't really solve what's going on here. So I appreciate the advice, but I don't think that's going to cut it.
Yeah. My buddy, Tommy Caprio, once, he got so high at my house, and he only told me this later. He's from New Jersey. He talks like this, fucking whatever.
I went to college in Jersey. I know how he talks.
And he fucking goes, I was so high, I was looking in your mirror up in your bedroom, and I was fucking splashing water on my fucking face, saying I was about to jump off your fucking roof. And I'm sitting here going, Jesus Christ, you're all right. You're all right. Breathe. Fuck, breathe. I would have paid money to have a video of that happening. He always liked to be in control, and he was spiraling. But I would have been there to help him. I was like, Tommy, you're going to be okay. You can't die from pot. You're going to be fine. Just calm down, relax, eat some food, a lot of it, and everything's going to be. Dude, this has been great, man. You're so easy to talk to. I love when a guest can actually just go back and forth and rip it. It's so easy with you. And this has been awesome. I loved it. I'm glad we finally did it, because I've asked you for years.
I know.
And
But I meant to go in all the time, and it was always a time thing.
I know,
here, and blah,
I know,
blah, blah.
but I'm glad we finally did it. Dude, you're the best. I'm not going to take up any of your time. Give your son another hug for me. And thanks for being on here, man. I really appreciate it.
Have me on again. We've got a lot more to talk about.
Dude, I will, absolutely.
Cheers,
You're the
brother.
best. Oh, wait, anything else you want to talk about? Are you good?
No, I'm not. I got more going on than I even want to shake.
What's your
at.
Instagram so people can follow you?
My Instagram is, because my son made it back in the day, it's Deuces, the word DEUCES 1966, my birth year.
All right.
And on X, I am at Real Dean Cain.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Dude, you're the
And
best.
I don't have Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not really on that either. All right, you man, take care.
Cheers, brother.
You're the best. That was freaking awesome. Dino, the old Deanster. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, can't thank you guys enough for listening. If you want to join Patreon and support this podcast, we need you. Patreon.com/Insidia. That's all I'll say about that. Here are the top tiers. Without them, I wouldn't be doing this show. And thank you. Nancy D, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Brian H. He just messaged me. I was supposed to go to a concert and I didn't go. Yukiko, you're still here. You've been around forever. Little Lisa, Nancy D. Just talked to Nancy D. Nico, always sending me videos of Zach and his winnings. Rob. Rob, because it's just a line, Rob. So when I see you, I'm just going to call you Rabbi. Rabbi, my rabbi. Jason Dreamweaver, Sophie M. Hello, Raj C. I don't think David Tennant liked your question, Raj. We disregarded it. It was too personal. No, it was fine. Jennifer N. How the hell are you? Stacy L. Of course. Jamal F. and Janelle B. I think I'm sending them stuff tomorrow. Patron boxes. Joe and I are doing the boxes tomorrow. Always trying to make them special. The most important thing is the card I put in there, but I try to make it, personal, not just like, thanks, Michael. Mike. Hello, Mike and L. Dan Supremo. 99 more. Don't worry, Dan. We're going to get the song to you. We got to do that. Remind Rob. Santiago M. Leanne P. Maddie S. and Kendrick F. Belinda N. Dave Hole. Brad D. Ray. Ha-da-da. Tabitha T. Tom N. Talia M. Betsy D. Don't forget Rhiannon C. If you forget Rhiannon C. I should make a song and just play it every time with all their names in it. And then we could just play it every week.
That'd be fun.
Would you guys like that? Write in on Patreon and tell me if you'd like me to create a song with all these names. Mr. M, Jeremy C, Michelle A, Eugene R, Monica T, Mel S, Eric H. Go ahead, Ryan. Why don't you say a few of these wonderful people?
Amanda R, Kevin E, Jor L,
Jorel,
Jammin
J,
Leanne
J,
Luna
R,
Jules,
M,
Jessica,
B,
Kaylee,
A, J,
Charlene,
A,
Romeo,
the band,
Frank,
B,
Jen,
T,
April,
R,
Randy,
S,
Claudia.
Claudia. Tell me if my what accent this is and if it's decent. Rachel D. Nick W.
You're trying to do Scottish?
Stephanie and Evan. Charlene A. Don G. Jenny B76. It's hard to when you're just saying words
Don
like
J,
this.
it made me think of
Don
Shrek
G.
when he says donkey.
Donkey.
Don J.
Don J. Jenny B76, Peyton C, NG Tracy, Keith B, Heather and Greg, who I will see today, even though today is really last week for you guys, but I'm going to see Heather and Greg. They donated to my one of my favorite charities, foodonfoot.org, to stop homelessness, and I'm having lunch with them, and I'm very excited. Right after these ads and stuff, I'm going there. Ellie K, Ben B, Pierre C, and Sultan, Ingrid C, Dave T, Jeff G, Kareem H, Brian B. We love you and we thank you. And from the Hollywood Hills in Hollywood, California, I'm Michael Rosenbaum.
I am Ryan Taylor.
Little way to the camera. We love you guys. Thank you for being here and supporting me and Ryan and Bryce and Jason. And be good to yourself. We'll see you.